Photoshop World 2024, where imagination becomes reality.
I have learned so much from this guy over the years, and he's a wonderful instructor that has some really unique ways to describe things. And in fact, his teaching tools are actually named after him. They're called Sammonisms. Rick Sammon, I am so thrilled to have you on board today.
Hello.
Well, thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
So, Rick, I want to talk to you a little bit about what people can expect and help them understand the setup of, oh, these are great, some images from previous Photoshop Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
Rick has been so integral to Photoshop World and the breakout sessions and just having fun. So this year you have a couple classes for Photoshop World.
Yep.
And one of them is called Photography Cross Training.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what people can expect and maybe even drop in a couple tips and tricks.
Sure. Well, you see, I have my sports shirt on, right? So today I went rowing in the morning, got up, went rowing. Then I went bike riding for about an hour, and then I'm going to go walking. So basically, to take care of my body at my age, Larry, you're gonna know what this is like eventually. I'm doing cross training because I really want to stay healthy. So I came up with this thing that's called photography cross training. And what it is, it's about if you learn something in one area, you could apply it to another area. I sent some slides. I don't know if we're going to show them, but from my presentation. And actually, I'm so excited about this presentation because I really think photo cross training is the key. And the thing is, if you're good at one, stuff in one area and apply it to another area, you can really shoot and scoot. They call me the shoot and scoot photographer because I go in there and shoot because I've applied cross training. For example, if you're good at animal portraits, and you know that you have to light the eyes. If you want the background out of focus to make the subject stand out. If you're looking for gesture is so important in people photography and in wildlife photography. So if you're good at animal photography, you're good at people photography. If you're good at close-up food photography, and I know our friend Larry T is really into close-up food photography, and I have some pictures in my class that actually he inspired. You're probably good at close-up flower photography. So again, this whole thing about cross-training, I think it's really, really important, and it really speeds up the shooting process.
It's a wonderful insight, and it's something that's really going to help people. And I want to start to let people know a little bit about what you might start considering now. Because when you sign up for Photoshop World, there are 3 tracks going on at the same time. So which one do you go to? And the answer is you go to the one where you think you're going to have the most questions, because yes, we do these live stream classes and the instructors know what they're going to say, and they aren't going to stop in the middle of their class to answer questions. Right. It just doesn't work that way, even though, it's a live stream thing. But what they do, the attendees have the ability to ask questions in the chat, and then the instructors, as soon as a class wraps up, and Rick, I know you do this all the time, as soon as your class wraps up, you go in and look at what were the questions that popped up, and Rick answers those, and the other instructors do too. Right after the class wraps up, they answer the questions. Now, sometimes the questions you ask, the instructor kind of is working through a training flow, and the question gets answered as part of that class. But sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, those instructors come back and they do answer those afterwards. And it really does help. It's kind of like when we had the live, I would stick around after Rick's class, having just finished an hour with Rick, and I'd go up to the stage and wait in a little line of 2 or 3 people and say, okay, now when you were talking about this, how did this work? And how do you do that in Photoshop? That kind of thing. So it's that same thing at Photoshop World virtually.
Well, I think this is one of the greatest things about, and I talked to Scott and Erica and you about it, the community, like for all the classes and by the way, after this, Larry, I'm going to have more than 50 classes on Kelby One. But anyway, at the bottom of the classes, it says discuss this class. And not everyone takes advantage of that, but with this Kelby One community, and with Photoshop World and all the classes, the attendees have a direct line to the instructor. I think that's one of the coolest things about Kelby One, which is why I say Kelby One's #1.
Join us at Photoshop World, September 24th through 26th. Learn more at photoshopworld.com.